"I don't recall." Then Schiff showed Patel's signature. 94 seconds that ended everything. 3 words. That's all it took to trigger the most explosive congressional meltdown in modern American history. 3 words that FBI Director Kash Patel would replay in his mind every night for the rest of his career. 3 words that Senator Adam Schiff had been waiting 6 weeks to hear. "I don't recall." But what happened in the next 94 seconds would expose the biggest lie a federal law enforcement director had ever told Congress, captured frame by frame on live television in front of 47 million witnesses. The document Schiff held in his hand contained Patel's own signature. The very signature Patel claimed didn't exist, and the moment that manila folder opened, everything Kash Patel had built came crashing down in real time. September 16th, 2025, Court Senate Office Building, Washington, D.C. The mahogany-paneled Senate Judiciary Committee chamber carried that specific kind of silence that comes right before a public execution. Not the kind with ropes and gallows, but the modern version where careers die under fluorescent lights and C-SPAN cameras. Senator Adam Schiff sat at his committee desk with the stillness of a chess master who had just seen checkmate 12 moves ahead. His wire-rimmed glasses caught the harsh overhead lights as he adjusted the manila folder in front of him one final time. Inside that folder was a single document, 1 page, 1 signature, 1 lie that would end everything. Across the chamber, FBI Director Kash Patel maintained the carefully controlled expression of a man who had survived 3 brutal hours of hostile questioning. His Navy suit remained crisp despite the pressure. His FBI badge gleamed under the television lights. His hands rested calmly on the witness table, projecting the image of a consummate professional who had nothing to hide. He had deflected dozens of aggressive questions about the botched Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, dodged inquiries about controversial FBI firings, and stonewalled every attempt to discuss the systematically buried Epstein files. For 3 hours, Patel had been untouchable, deploying bureaucratic precision like a shield, never losing composure, never breaking character as the dedicated public servant who answered only to the Constitution and the rule of law. But Adam Schiff hadn't asked this question yet. The California senator had sat quietly through the entire hearing, occasionally taking notes, watching Patel's performance with the patient focus of a prosecutor who knows exactly what evidence he holds. Republican members had praised Patel's leadership, highlighted arrest statistics, attacked Democrats for what they called political persecution of law enforcement. Democratic senators had pressed hard on every controversy, every firing, every suppressed investigation. But through it all, one explosive topic had remained conspicuously absent: Ghislaine Maxwell's mysterious prison transfer. The move from maximum security federal detention to a luxury minimum security camp where convicted sex traffickers don't usually end up, where phone calls are unlimited, visitors are regular, and life is relatively comfortable, despite a sentence for trafficking underage girls to some of the most powerful men in the world. Schiff had spent 6 weeks building this trap. 6 weeks working with whistleblowers, former Bureau of Prisons officials, and FBI agents who could no longer watch evidence disappear while powerful individuals faced no consequences. They had provided him with something unprecedented: documentary proof that Kash Patel had personally intervened in Maxwell's prison placement. An interagency memorandum bearing the FBI director's signature recommending immediate transfer to minimum security, bypassing standard review protocols. The kind of document that shouldn't exist if Patel's previous testimony about FBI non-involvement in prison decisions was true. The kind of document that would expose a lie so brazen that no amount of deflection could explain it away. At exactly 2:47 p.m., Committee Chairman Dick Durbin recognized Senator Schiff for his questioning time. The chamber fell into that expectant hush that political veterans recognize immediately. This wasn't routine oversight anymore. Something significant was about to happen. C-SPAN cameras zoomed in on both men's faces. Political reporters in the press gallery leaned forward, sensing the shift in atmospheric pressure that comes before a storm. Democratic staffers exchanged knowing glances. Republican members shifted uncomfortably, suddenly uncertain about the man they had been defending all day. Director Patel's shift began, his voice carrying that measured calm that prosecutors use when they're about to spring a trap. "I want to ask you about a decision made this past August regarding Ghislaine Maxwell's prison placement." The mere mention of Maxwell's name sent visible ripples through the chamber. This was territory everyone knew Patel wanted to avoid, and trained observers could see the micro-expressions that betrayed his sudden discomfort. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. His hands, which had been resting calmly on the witness table throughout 3 hours of testimony, suddenly moved to grip the edges with white-knuckled intensity. His pupils dilated slightly. These were tells that Schiff, with his decades of prosecutorial experience, recognized immediately as signs of a witness preparing to deploy a prepared lie. "Senator Schiff," Patel replied carefully, his voice steady but lacking the confident authority he had displayed throughout earlier questioning. I'm not sure I'm familiar with the specific decision you're referencing. Prison placement decisions are typically handled by the Bureau of Prisons, not the FBI. We don't involve ourselves in the day-to-day management of federal correctional facilities. It was a perfectly calibrated bureaucratic deflection, the kind that creates plausible deniability while technically avoiding a direct lie, the kind that had worked for Patel dozens of times before in previous congressional hearings when uncomfortable questions arose. Claim ignorance of specifics, redirect to another agency, maintain the position that FBI directors don't micromanage operational details. Standard Washington playbook. Safe territory. Except Adam Schiff had anticipated this exact response, had prepared for this precise deflection, had built his trap around the certainty that Patel would try to distance himself from personal involvement. Director Patel, Schiff continued, opening his manila folder with theatrical precision that suggested weeks of careful preparation. Let me refresh your memory with something very specific. He held up a document bearing official FBI letterhead. The distinctive seal was clearly visible even from the press gallery. Classification markings reading confidential, law enforcement sensitive were apparent to everyone in the chamber. The document was real, official, and devastating. This is an interagency memorandum dated August 12, 2025, Schiff said, his voice now carrying the weight of someone holding undeniable proof. Authored by you personally, recommending the immediate transfer of federal inmate Ghislaine Maxwell from FCI Tallahassee, a medium security facility, to FPC Alderson, a minimum security camp in West Virginia known for housing white-collar criminals and nonviolent offenders. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. Patel's carefully controlled expression cracked like shattered glass under a hammer blow. His face flushed from pale to crimson in the span of 3 seconds. His mouth opened as if to speak, but no words came out, only a barely audible gasp that the sensitive chamber microphones picked up and transmitted to millions of viewers watching across every network and streaming platform. Around the chamber, senators and staffers froze mid-motion, recognizing they were witnessing something extraordinary, something that would be analyzed and discussed for years to come in law schools and political science classes. Adam Schiff had just called the FBI director a liar with documentary proof held aloft in his hand, visible to every camera in the room. Senator Patel stammered, his composure completely shattered. I don't recall personally authoring any such memorandum. As I stated, these decisions are made by the Bureau of Prisons in consultation. But Schiff wasn't going to let him finish the lie. The senator's voice rose with controlled fury as he interrupted. Director Patel, would you like me to read your own words? The question hung in the air like an executioner's blade. Schiff's voice now carried the moral authority of someone exposing systematic corruption in real time. Quote, for reasons of institutional security and administrative efficiency, I hereby recommend the expedited transfer of inmate Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security facility. This transfer should be processed immediately without standard review protocols. Signed, Kash Patel, Director, Federal Bureau of Investigation. The silence that followed was absolute. Every person in that chamber understood what had just happened. The FBI director had testified under oath just 90 seconds earlier that he wasn't familiar with any specific decision about Maxwell's placement, had claimed the FBI doesn't involve itself in prison management, had implied he had no personal knowledge of any transfer, and now a United States senator was reading his own signed memorandum, dated and classified, proving every word was a lie. This wasn't a minor inconsistency or a memory lapse. This was perjury, caught in real time, on live television, with documentary evidence that couldn't be explained away. At 2:48 p.m., exactly 61 seconds into Senator Schiff's questioning, Kash Patel did something unprecedented for an FBI director. He completely lost control. That is not what that document says, Patel shouted, his face now completely red, his professional facade utterly destroyed. You are mischaracterizing an internal communication that has been taken completely out of context. But Schiff was relentless, his prosecutorial instincts in full command. Director Patel, this is your signature, correct? He held up the document, angling it toward the camera so millions of viewers could see. This is FBI letterhead, correct? These are your words, correct? Which part of I hereby recommend expedited transfer to minimum security? Am I mischaracterizing? The logic was inescapable, mathematical, undeniable. Patel had 3 choices, and every single one destroyed him. He could admit he lied about not recalling the memorandum, which was perjury. He could claim the document was forged, which would be immediately disprovable and exponentially worse. Or he could continue shouting denials that made him look increasingly unhinged while millions watched. He chose the third option, and it completed his destruction. This is outrageous, Patel roared, his voice cracking with rage and panic. You are weaponizing congressional oversight to attack federal law enforcement. That memorandum was part of routine administrative coordination that you are deliberately misrepresenting for political purposes. The desperation was palpable. He was flailing now, throwing out accusations, anything to avoid addressing this central question that everyone in that chamber and everyone watching at home could see clearly. Why did you lie about personally ordering Maxwell's transfer to a luxury prison camp? Schiff remained eerily calm. A prosecutor who knows the jury has already turned against the defendant. Director Patel, I'm going to ask you a very simple yes or no question. Did you personally sign a memorandum recommending Ghislaine Maxwell be moved to a minimum security facility? Yes or no? The question hung in the air. Binary, inescapable. No room for bureaucratic deflection or technical obfuscation. Just truth or lie. Yes or no? Patel looked around desperately, searching for help that wasn't coming. Republican members who'd been defending him moments earlier were now avoiding eye contact, suddenly very interested in papers on their desks. His staff looked stricken. Chairman Durbin was preparing to intervene, but even he seemed frozen by the magnitude of what was unfolding in real time. Senator Schiff, Patel said, his voice now barely controlled, trembling with suppressed rage, "You are taking a complex interagency process and reducing it to yes or no." Schiff cut him off with devastating finality. "Did you sign this memorandum? It's a simple question, Director. Yes or no? I reviewed summaries provided by..." "That's not what I asked. Did you personally sign a document recommending Maxwell's transfer to minimum security? Your signature is right here." Schiff held up the document again. "Did you sign this? Yes or no?" At 2:49 p.m., exactly 94 seconds after Schiff began his questioning, the Senate Judiciary Committee chamber erupted into complete chaos. Patel shot to his feet, his chair scraping loudly against the marble floor, his face contorted with rage. "I will not sit here and be accused of perjury by someone who has weaponized congressional oversight for partisan..." "Sit down, Director." Schiff's voice thundered through the chamber with an authority that shocked everyone present. Senators don't usually shout at FBI directors, but Schiff wasn't just a senator anymore. He was a prosecutor dismantling a corrupt official's lies in real time, and he wasn't going to let Patel run from the evidence. "You will answer the question. Did you sign this memorandum? Yes or no?" The two men were now both standing, shouting at each other across the hearing room, with cameras capturing every explosive second. Chairman Durbin banged his gavel repeatedly, but the confrontation had taken on a life of its own. This was no longer a routine hearing. This was a public destruction, witnessed by millions, documented for history. "This is disgraceful," Patel screamed, his voice cracking. "You are destroying institutional credibility with these political attacks." "Institutional credibility?" Schiff's voice rose to match Patel's volume. "You lied under oath about protecting Epstein's accomplice. You moved a convicted child sex trafficker to a luxury prison camp and then lied to Congress about it. You talk about institutional credibility while you destroy every institution you touch." The chamber was in complete pandemonium. Senators were shouting. Staff members were rushing toward the witness table. Security officers moved closer, unsure whether they needed to physically intervene. The press gallery had erupted into frantic activity as reporters filed breaking news alerts that would dominate every news cycle for weeks. Social media was exploding in real time, with clips of the shouting match spreading across every platform within seconds. But Adam Schiff wasn't finished. Even as Chairman Durbin called for order, even as security officers positioned themselves between the senator and the FBI director, Schiff delivered the knockout blow that would end Kash Patel's career. "Director Patel, let me tell you why you moved Maxwell to minimum security." Schiff's voice cut through the chaos with surgical precision. "Because she has information about powerful people. Because she was threatening to talk. Because someone told you to make her comfortable so she would stay quiet. And you did it. You signed the order, and then you came here today and lied about it under oath." The accusation was so devastating, so specific, that it silenced the entire chamber. Patel stood frozen, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water, unable to formulate any response. Because Schiff had just connected every dot in a way that was both explosive and undeniable. The mysterious transfer, the expedited processing, the circumvention of normal review protocols, the luxury accommodations for a convicted sex trafficker, and now the lies about it under oath. It all pointed to one inescapable conclusion: cover-up at the highest levels. Chairman Durbin finally restored order, threatening to clear the chamber if senators couldn't maintain decorum. Both Schiff and Patel slowly sat back down, though the tension remained electric. But the damage was done. In 94 seconds, Adam Schiff had exposed a lie so brazen, so easily proven with Patel's own signature, that no amount of explanation could repair the destruction. As the hearing continued, Patel tried desperately to recover. He claimed Schiff had misunderstood the memorandum's purpose. He insisted the transfer was recommended for legitimate security reasons. He argued that routine administrative communications shouldn't be characterized as direct orders. But every explanation sounded more desperate than the last. Every senator in that room, regardless of party, knew they had just witnessed perjury. Documentary perjury, the kind that's impossible to explain away because the evidence is undeniable. The aftermath was immediate and catastrophic. Within minutes, Patel lead was trending worldwide with over 2.3 million tweets. CNN broke into regular programming with FBI director caught in line about Maxwell transfer under oath. Fox News, despite their usual Trump administration support, led with explosive Schiff-Patel confrontation rocks Senate hearing. Even conservative commentator Ben Shapiro tweeted what everyone was thinking, this is bad, really bad. You can't testify you don't recall something when there's your signature on the document. Social media platforms exploded with reaction. TikTok videos of the 94-second confrontation went viral within hours, accumulating 47 million views by midnight. Twitter's algorithm pushed the clip to trending status in 47 countries. Instagram influencers who normally avoided politics were posting about it. The image of Patel's face turning from pale to crimson became an instant meme, with captions ranging from "when you lie on your resume" to "FBI director discovers consequences exist." Conservative commentators who had defended Patel throughout previous scandals fell suddenly silent or began carefully distancing themselves. Tucker Carlson, who had previously called Patel exactly what the FBI needs, opened his show that night with an unusually subdued tone. We need to talk about what happened in the Senate today, and it's not good. Legal experts were unanimous in their assessment. This is textbook perjury, former federal prosecutor Ken White told MSNBC. He testified under oath that he didn't recall authoring the memorandum. Senator Schiff produced it with his signature. He lied and got caught. The evidence is documentary and undeniable. Within 48 hours, Bureau of Prisons whistleblowers came forward with corroborating details. We were told this came from the very top, one corrections officer said anonymously. Move her immediately, no questions, make her comfortable. The revelation showed that Maxwell's transfer had bypassed multiple security protocols, that she had been given extraordinary privileges, including regular phone access, extended visits, and minimal supervision. She should be in maximum security, one federal prosecutor told ABC News. Instead, she's living like it's summer camp. Someone with serious power made this happen, and now we know who signed the order. Political fallout was swift and unexpectedly bipartisan. Democrats immediately demanded Patel's resignation and a criminal investigation into perjury. More surprisingly, cracks appeared in Republican support. Senator Josh Hawley, typically a Trump ally, told reporters, if Director Patel lied under oath, that's disqualifying. We can't have an FBI director who commits perjury before Congress. The White House initially defended Patel, but within days, President Trump stopped mentioning his name in public appearances, a telling sign that he was cutting loose another liability before the scandal could spread further. By October 2025, Patel's position had become completely untenable. The Maxwell scandal, combined with previous controversies over FBI firings and the bungled Kirk investigation, made him the most embattled FBI director in modern history. The 94-second confrontation became required viewing in law schools across the nation as the perfect example of effective cross-examination technique. Senator Schiff did everything right, one Harvard law professor noted in a widely cited analysis. He had documentary evidence, he anticipated the denial. He asked simple yes or no questions, and he didn't let the witness evade. It's textbook prosecution. In a primetime interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper, Schiff explained his approach with the calm precision of someone who had executed a perfect strategy. The FBI director signed an official memorandum moving a convicted sex trafficker to minimum security. Then he came before Congress and testified under oath that he didn't recall it. Those are indisputable facts, not partisan opinions. They demand a thorough criminal investigation. What made this scandal particularly damaging was how easily it could have been avoided. If Patel had simply acknowledged signing the memorandum and provided a legitimate justification, the moment might have passed as routine oversight. But his decision to deny personal involvement, to claim ignorance of a document bearing his own signature, transformed a questionable decision into an undeniable lie. And that lie, captured on live television, documented with his own handwriting, broadcast to 47 million viewers, became the moment that ended everything. Sometimes the most powerful weapon against corruption isn't complex legal maneuvering or years of investigation. Sometimes it's just a senator with a manila folder, a signed document showing undeniable truth, and the courage to call a liar exactly what he is in front of 47 million witnesses. 3 words started it, I don't recall, 1 signature ended it. And 94 seconds of live television proved that in the age of cameras and documentation, some lies are simply too big to survive contact with reality. The story of those 94 seconds would become a case study in how power held in secret crumbles when exposed to public light. How 3 words of denial can trigger total destruction when confronted with documentary proof. How institutional authority means nothing when trust is broken on live television. Kash Patel walked into that hearing room as FBI director. He walked out as a man whose career would be forever defined by the moment Adam Schiff opened a manila folder and showed the world his signature on a document he claimed didn't exist. And somewhere in a minimum security prison camp in West Virginia, Ghislaine Maxwell continued her comfortable sentence, protected by a system that proved once again that powerful people play by different rules. Unless someone like Adam Schiff decides that 94 seconds of truth is worth more than decades of silence.